the workers and the companies affected by the unjustifiable and unjustified tariffs.
Diversifying our markets, building pipelines until we aren't beholden on the U.S., and making sure that we can get our products around the world.
We will become stronger, and we will diversify and turn ourselves towards Europe.
All right, let's turn back to the White House and President Trump's decision to raise tariffs on steel and aluminum imports from 25 to 50%.
We're going to bring it from 25% to 50%, the tariffs on steel into the United States of America.
Canadian steel and aluminum producers say it will have a devastating effect.
The latest tariffs on steel and aluminum are unjustified. They're illegal. They're bad for American workers, bad for American industry, and of course for Canadian industry as well.
Have you seen your car's price tag jump this year? Do you know why your kitchen foil costs more? And did you hear about 100,000 American jobs at risk of vanishing overnight? That's the real fallout from Trump's 50% aluminum tariff. On June 4th, 2025, President Trump doubled the aluminum tariff from 25% to 50% under Section 232, aiming to protect national security. Every can, frame, and wire that contains foreign aluminum suddenly cost twice as much. U.S. aluminum imports totaled $28.3 billion in 2024, 75% of our supply, and Canada alone sent us $11.47 billion worth. Yet, domestic smelters could only squeeze out 680,000 metric tons, leaving 4.9 million metric tons of demand met by imports. Prices spiked instantly. U.S. duty-paid premiums jumped 138% above global rates, pushing futures above $2,550 per ton. Alcoa alone wrote off $115 million in tariff costs. In quarter two, Rio Tinto swallowed over $300 million in the first half of the year. With energy costs 32% higher here, $35 to $40 per megawatt hour versus Canada's $6 to $7. American smelters can't compete, so plants remain idle even as we pay more. The human cost looms large.
We would be looking for an energy policy that supports a plant like this that will be around for 2030.
Alcoa's CEO warned that a 25% tariff would destroy about 20,000 direct jobs and 80,000 indirect ones. A total of 100,000 lost. This mirrors the 2002 steel tariffs that cost 200,000 downstream jobs, more than steel sector employment at the time. Already, Magnitude 7 Metals in Missouri shut its doors in January 2024, and Century Aluminum closed its Hawesville, Kentucky plant, costing over 600 jobs. Manufacturers feel the squeeze too. Automakers see $200 added to every electric vehicle for extra aluminum. Builders report 20% hikes on windows and plumbing parts. Even tech firms delayed data center expansions because copper wiring and chassis cost too much. Consumers will pay hundreds more on cars, refrigerators, and cans of soda. Canada strikes back by ramping exports to Asia, up 30% in quarter 2 2025. While U.S. firms scramble for exemptions. Over 200 petitions await approval, but backlogs mean no relief is in sight. Faced with rising costs, Coca-Cola is eyeing plastic bottles over infinitely recyclable cans, an environmental setback driven by trade policy. This tariff battle isn't just about metal, it's about jobs, homes, and the price we pay at checkout. Next, we'll reveal how Canada's hydro power play is deepening our energy disadvantage, why BRICS powers are eyeing aluminum to challenge the dollar, and what desperate deals U.S. lawmakers are negotiating behind closed doors. Don't miss the next chapter of this unexpected price war. Before we dive back in, please hit the like button. Your support fuels every story we share. We're aiming for 5,000 subscribers on Global Insight, and your subscription would mean the world to us. Thank you for helping us grow. Now let's continue. Factories coast to coast are feeling the squeeze as the aluminum shockwave hits home. In June 2025 alone, U.S. manufacturing jobs dipped by 7,000, marking the third straight month of losses in metal-intensive industries. By year's end, Bloomberg Economics projects 394,000 fewer payroll positions overall, nearly 0.3% of the workforce, driven largely by soaring aluminum costs. Consumers aren't immune. Households could see their purchasing power cut by $2,000 to $3,800 annually, as the average effective tariff climbs to 22.5%, the highest since 1909. Simple staples, from soda cans to pizza trays, now carry a hidden surcharge, adding up at the checkout. A small appliance entrepreneur lamented, "My cost for aluminum parts jumped 45 cents per pound, and I can't swallow that, so I pass it on." On Capitol Hill, alarm bells rang. Senators proposed a Tariff Adjustment Act to reinstate a 25% rate by September, arguing it would shave 20% off the price premium. Yet that compromise clashes with Trump's tough on imports stance and risks alienating the UK, which remains at 25% under a pending prosperity deal. Internationally, BRICS nations see opportunity. Brazil is courting U.S. buyers with unsubsidized, duty-free aluminum, capitalizing on its booming output, 56 million tons in 2024, eclipsing America's 680,000. South Africa's smelters eye new contracts, betting that U.S. plants idled by high energy costs and tariffs will cede market share. Back home, energy woes compound the crisis. U.S. smelters pay up to $40 per megawatt hour, 4 times Canada's $6 to $7 per megawatt hour. Local utilities warn of further price hikes this winter, threatening to shut more facilities. The potential energy cliff looms. Without cheaper power, domestic production cannot rebound, tariffs or not. Supply chains are fraying. Rio Tinto admitted it could redirect only 40% of Quebec's output when American orders evaporated. The rest clogs global markets, driving down Canadian spot prices even as U.S. premiums soar. Scrap dealers thrive. Copper and aluminum recycling jumped 45% in Q2. But that scramble for metal can't fuel new alloys or high-tech applications. Small towns bear the brunt. In Hawesville, Kentucky, former Century aluminum workers scramble for retraining programs as local stores shutter. In rural Michigan, blueprint shops that supply components to appliance makers report a 30% drop in orders. With each fabricator that folds, the economic multiplier erodes. One smelter job once sustained 3 more in logistics, catering, and retail. Still, voices of resilience emerge. Some small manufacturers explore aluminum steel composites to cut costs. Startup foundries trial mixed metal castings requiring 50% less pure aluminum. Tech hubs in Pittsburgh discuss grants for alloy research aimed at reducing tariff exposure. By late 2025, the aluminum tariff saga had climbed to a new peak, and not the kind you want in your cans. Ottawa used its low-cost hydropower to turbocharge smelter output, posting a 12% production jump in Q1 2025. With cheap electricity at $6 to $7 per megawatt hour, Canadian plants ran near full tilt, while U.S. facilities, paying $35 to $40 per megawatt hour, barely covered their bills. This widening energy gap meant Canada could absorb the U.S. tariff fallout and still turn a profit. Meanwhile, BRICS capitals whispered about an aluminum alliance. Brazil, fresh off exporting 56 million tons in 2024, and South Africa, with sprawling smelters, floated trades in yuan and rupees to sidestep the dollar, and U.S. duties. If even 10% of global aluminum moves into these new channels, American suppliers risk permanent market share losses no tariff could reverse. Washington scrambled for fixes. A bipartisan Aluminum Relief Act proposal floated direct subsidies of $200 per ton for domestic producers, aimed at offsetting energy costs and defraying tariff burdens. Opponents warned it mirrored corporate welfare, while supporters argued it would save 10,000 jobs by year's end. Hearings were set for October, with CEOs from Alcoa and Century Aluminum pleading for urgent aid. At the Commerce Department, officials eyed streamlined permit approvals under emergency powers, promising to unlock 250,000 tons of new smelting capacity within months. Yet, environmental reviews and stakeholder objections delayed progress, leaving U.S. producers stuck in regulatory limbo as Canada's smelters gobbled up displaced orders. On the ground, fabricators innovate to survive. A Detroit metal shop began experimenting with aluminum steel composites, cutting pure aluminum use by 30%. Michigan's auto suppliers piloted mixed metal chassis parts, seeking to dodge the tariff spike. In rural Missouri, a scrapyard reported a 60% surge in aluminum recycling, as old siding and gutters became gold dust to replace pricey new ingots. Even environmental goals felt the sting. Companies committed to low-carbon supply chains now face a dilemma. Canadian aluminum boasts the lowest global carbon footprint, yet some U.S. buyers balk at cross-border logistics. Others reconsider plastic packaging or recycled aluminum, with mixed success. Coca-Cola's shift toward PET bottles, spurred by can costs, underscores how tariffs ripple into sustainability plans. As winter approaches, forecasts warn more pain ahead. Energy prices likely climb, tightening the cost squeeze on U.S. smelters and manufacturers. The global surplus of 200,000 tons won't last. Canada's boosted output and BRICS deals will soak up excess, leaving U.S. firms stranded at the docks. The big question remains, will the U.S. roll back tariffs or double down? Policymakers must choose between short-term politics and long-term industrial health. Without swift action, whether subsidies, tariff relief, or infrastructure investment, the U.S. aluminum sector risks permanent scarring. If you've been caught in the crossfire of these metal wars, click the video on your screen now. Workers have been fired from FedEx and Amazon, to see how automation and trade policy are reshaping America's job market. Don't miss it. Tap that video and stay informed.